Okay, we're recording and transcribing.
Good morning, Rick. How you doing?
I'm great, Sharon. How's it going with you?
Good, dear. So I have a question for you. I'm in the car, but I'm parked. So there's been a lot happening with trying to get information on that new first-time homebuyer savings plan. Do you have any updates for us on that?
Yeah, we finally do. It went active April 1st. So now you can start making deposits theoretically to your first-time home buyer savings account. Unfortunately, it sounds like the financial institutions didn't have enough lead time, so many still don't have it up and running. However, once your financial institution of choice has it available, and I'm sure it will be shortly, you will be able to contribute up to $8,000 this year to the first-time home buyers savings account. Now, I was kind of looking at this program skeptically for a long time because it sounded like it was going to be either this or the first-time buyers using their RSP. And
right,
it's like,
that was the other thing I was
going to years, it's only $8,000 a year. So it's like, well, why would I do that when I can take out up to $35,000 from my RSP?
Right.
However, it is now apparent that you will be able to use both. So you can, and when you make a contribution, you're going to get your tax refund. So, of course, depending on your marginal tax bracket, you're going to get back up to 50 cents on the dollar of what you deposit into your RSP or your first-time home savings account.
So, can we still make that deposit for this year?
Yes. So both you can make the deposit for into your RSP. Now you have to check to make sure you have the contribution room available, which you can check the notice of assessment. It will tell you what your contribution room availability is. So yeah, you can do as long as you've got the contribution space available, up to $35,000 into your RSP, which you can take out then once the money's been in for at least 90 days. It's up to $35,000 per person. So if you've got multiple people buying a house, husband, wife, for example, that's potentially $70,000 towards your down payment there. And then also the $8,000 per person for the first-time home buyer savings account.
How long does that have to be in the account? So can we put $8,000 in as a lump sum payment?
Yes, you can put it in immediately as soon as the financial institutions are accepting it, and as long as you meet the criteria of being a first-time home buyer. Now, the criteria it's a bit of a misnomer because you can have owned a house before. It looks very similar to the RSP version of the plan, where you can't have owned a home or lived in a home owned by your spouse in the last 4 years. But if you've both been outside of home ownership for that time period, then you are considered first-time buyers all over again. Now, unlike the first-time home buyers plan for the through the RSP, the savings account, there is a lifetime maximum of $40,000. With the first-time home buyer plan with the RSP, you can take up to $35,000, and as long as you repaid it, then you do not need to, you can do it over and over and over again as long as you meet the criteria of being a first-time home buyer. Now, the big difference between the two plans is the RSP version, after you've bought the house, 2 years later, you have to start making repayments and repay the plan over 15 years in equal installments. If you don't, then it gets added to your taxes in that year for the amount that you were supposed to pay, one of those 1/15 of the amount you borrowed. Now, with the first-time home the FHSA, wow, I've got marbles in my mouth today. With the FHSA, then when you put the money in, you get your tax refund when you file your taxes. So probably, most people file at the end of April. So you might get your tax refund, assuming the CRA doesn't go on strike, you might get your tax refund for that year's contribution, the following May or June. So, but it doesn't have to be repaid. So,
Hey, so sideline, talking about that strike, is that the government employees that want 35% pay increase, or was that someone else?
it is a significant pay increase. It might total like 35%. I know they're looking
Yeah,
for, like, retroactive, it's something like 10% because they're
okay.
looking for wage parity with border agents.
Yeah,
And
I
they
think
also
I
want to
think
be
it,
able
I
to
think
keep
it,
working from
can you
home.
can you imagine getting a pay increase up to 35%?
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah,
It's the government employees, right? Everybody else is struggling. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Nothing new
yeah,
there.
right. So yeah, I guess, but at least with the repayment part, so the FHSA is strictly like a savings to help with the down payment. So the RSP, you get the down payment, but it's still got the retirement component to it. So that's why you need to pay that back.
It's essentially like a loan to yourself from your RSP. So you're taking from your
Okay.
retirement savings so that you can buy a house, but then you repay it back into your retirement savings. So
Right.
unfortunately, the repayments to your retirement don't give you another tax break because it's designated as a repayment. So you don't get a tax refund for making a repayment. So,
Right.
but it's a great idea because you get when you file your tax refund, you get the money. So if especially if your timeline for buying is like a year away or something, it makes total sense to do, especially like the higher your income, the more sense it makes because you can turn say 20,000 into $30,000, right? And then of course you can take that $10,000 refund and you can also contribute that to the savings plan. We've got programs where we can help you jumpstart your savings by giving you an RSP loan. There's all sorts of ways of going about it and helping you come up with that down payment. And of course, if you can come up with a big enough down payment, you can avoid paying CMHC. You can use a longer amortization period when you're applying for the mortgage, so you qualify to borrow more money. There's all sorts of potential benefits. And of course, the biggest benefit is you stop having to make rental payments and paying someone else's mortgage.
Right. Yep. So right now that FHSA is capped at 40,000, so 5 years at $8,000. But I mean that's just where they've started now. I mean, who knows what changes how they'll enhance it going forward, depending on the demand and how people use it. And so we have until I think the end of April, right, to make those payments to
No.
do
It
that?
was beginning of April that it first became available. So assuming I have to double check this, assuming that it's calendar year, which I don't see why it wouldn't be.
I meant for tax year this year. What's our deadline to be able to make those contributions?
Oh no. So this contribution would be for 2023. So when you're filing your taxes at the end of April, you won't be able to use it for 2022.
Gotcha.
You'll be able to use it for the 2023 tax year.
Okay, for 2023. Yeah.
And unlike, so with an RSP contribution, you have the first 60 days of the year to make a contribution that would apply to the previous tax year. So up until March 1st, you can make an RSP contribution and it would count towards the previous year.
Okay. So that one's already passed. Okay.
Yeah. So we've already passed those deadlines, unfortunately. So you're waiting for, but I mean, still, like if it's like, okay, well, I've got a down payment for a home, it's you can still get a nice tax refund next year, even if you're going ahead to buy before you would get your, and you can then take that lump sum of money and well, I mean, it's money, you can do with it what you will, but you could so it's like it's paying less tax when, like, that's always a good thing, right? If you can avoid taxes.
Yep. So now at least we know we can at least get started. So everybody can start saving that $8,000 for the next year into that account, and so they can start as soon as their banks are making available to them, which I guess will be rolled out over the next 2 weeks probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect. I'm sure the financial institutions, there's probably one or two that have it available by now, but it's just they've got to do all their due diligence and legal stuff in the background to make sure that it's all according to Hoyle and so forth.
Awesome.
But I mean, it's one of those things. It's now, if you don't make the contribution this year, the good news is that it carries forward. So you
Oh,
can make
okay.
that contribution next year. So if you don't make it this year, next year you can make 16,000.
Oh,
And
good.
so, by the time this program's been around for 5 years, if you have 40,000, you can just put the 40,000 in. You can also transfer money out of your RSP into the first time home buyer savings account. So
Oh,
yeah, you can do that. Now, of course, you've already got the tax refund from making your RSP contribution. But yes, so like let's say you've got 43,000 or more in your RSP, 35,000 can be taken out for the first time home buyer plan through the RSP, and you can transfer the other 8,000 into a first time home.
oh, that's smooth. That's
Yeah.
smooth.
So,
Yeah, I
you
like
can
that.
also, if you make the FHSA contribution, you've got a 15-year limit before you must buy a home, or you can transfer it back into your RSP, or you would have to withdraw it and take the tax hit at that point. The other deadline is in the year in which you turn age 71.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
Okay.
so there's lots of time, but it's like, the sooner you get started, the better, because now you can invest it in pretty much the same sort of things you can invest inside an RSP. So mutual funds, segregated funds, stocks, bonds, GICs.
So within the TFSA, we can, yeah.
Yeah, very similar to TFSA. They all have very similar investments. You can't hold real property inside of it. So you can't,
Right.
buy a house and hold it in your first time. But yes.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Thanks, Rick. I really appreciate that. And I'll be sure to get that out in the newsletter on Sunday as well, that update, so that we can, because we've got quite a few home buyers right now that are looking. The market is already picking up sweetly, and there's offers happening all over the place. So be a good time to look at their numbers and get them started on this program.
Sounds great, Sharon. Okay, look forward to doing some of that work. And if you guys found the content of this video interesting or helpful, please click below to like and subscribe.
Yes, please do. Help us out, and actually check out all the other videos there too. We cover a lot of topics, and we usually have at least 2 videos up every week that are just of these chats, plus all the other information that we put on the YouTube channel. Okay, so guys, take a look around and always reach out. Any questions, we're here for you. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing week.